It is time for a long overdue garden update. We moved into this house in fall of 2022, and ever since then I have been really focused on turning the front yard into a certified wildlife habitat. I recently did a whole video about that. If you want to go check it out, I'll link it up here. But because I was working on that project, I didn't feel like I had enough time to also work on like fostering what I hope to be one day back here, a food forest. Okay, that's a big goal. It takes a long time to do these kind of projects. But now that the front yard is established, I can put more time into turning this into an eventual food forest. And we do already have a few things going for us. The groundwork of a food forest is to prioritize things that are long lasting, not annual. So when we typically think of gardens, we think of annuals that we can grow. We plant the seed, it grows, it's done, it dies. This is things like bell peppers, honey peppers really, cucumber, squashes, tomatoes, etc. But the priorities in a food forest are more things like nut trees and fruit trees, and there are greens that can grow as perennials. So I am trying to do that back here. That is my goal. And luckily, whoever lived here before me, well, has a lot to do with why we chose this house, right? But whoever planted these 3 big pecan trees in my backyard did me a big favor, because I'm already well on my way to establishing a food forest without having to really do it all myself. Aside from the pecan trees, there are a few things that I have personally done to start working towards this goal of having a food forest. And one of those things is that I have right here my native fruit trees, because I wanted to start with fruit trees that would help with the ecosystem. And that's actually one of the reasons that it's been a little bit harder for me to get into regular gardening again, because when I go into spaces that are talking about gardening tips, so many of them are focused on how to keep bugs off of plants, which is what I have spent the last 3 years trying to get bugs onto my plants. And so gardening in the traditional or like typical way feels so weird to me now. And so back here I wanted to start with some native fruit trees so that I was like bridging that gap, right? So we have Mexican plum behind me, we have Texas persimmon, we have something called a pawpaw tree, and we have rosemary. Those are the perennials that are back here. I planted them last fall and they're doing their thing. But there are some annuals growing just in the ground here, which is kind of crazy to see. Someone is upset he can't come outside, but this morning there was a hawk attack. I don't know if it was an attack, but there was a hawk. It woke me up at 7 a.m. because it hit the house, and then I heard the chickens freaking out and the blue jays freaking out. Everyone was freaking out that there was a hawk. Out of an abundance of precaution, he has to stay inside for today. Okay. Anyway, right here, I did not plant this plant. I did not plant any of these plants actually, but growing right here we have a volunteer mulberry is what you would call it. And there are invasive mulberries in Texas and probably everywhere, and it's really hard to tell the difference between a native one and an invasive one. The only way that I have been able to attempt to see like if it's a native one, if it's an invasive one, is the invasive ones have different shaped leaves and they're shiny. This has mostly heart-shaped leaves, I guess you would say, and it's matte. So I believe this to be a native mulberry, which I did not plant, but I'm gonna keep because it fits perfectly into the theme back here. And then this just below it, if you can see this here, is a pumpkin growing, which again, I didn't plant. There are like 4 or 5 sections of my yard growing pumpkins right now that I have not watered. I did not plant. They literally grew because I put pumpkins back here for the girls last fall. I let them stay and kind of disintegrate. And the pumpkins that are growing in my yard now are from the pumpkins that I threw outside last year. So we'll see if they become anything. We do have pretty serious pest pressure when it comes to pumpkins in Texas called the squash vine borer. It's yeah, it's a challenge. And like in all the Facebook groups, people are talking about how to kill them, and that just feels so weird to me and opposite of what I would want to be doing back here. And then there's the other side of that that's like, I understand that if you're trying to grow plants to produce food to eat, and you put like time and energy and money into growing food, you would not want bugs to eat it all. But it's just like, I don't know, it's so complicated in my mind. Let me know if you deal with that at all, but that's how I feel. We also have a massive volunteer sunflower in my garden beds right now, which I love my garden beds. I recently got a discount code with them. I'll leave it linked in the description. But without any further ado, let's get into getting seeds started. living in Texas is that we're supposed to start seeds and the growing season starts so much earlier than everyone else. Like, we're already properly into planting season, and the hard part about that is I never feel like I'm prepared at the right time. I don't even start considering planting seeds until March, and that's like for us kind of when planting season starts. Like, things should already be in the ground. So I have a lot of seeds, and on my no-buy list this year was seeds and plants, and I'm not planning to buy anything for the garden because the amount of seeds I have is honestly ridiculous. I've been storing them in this blue hand box has been the best seed organizer. I'm gonna go through and see what I have, because whatever I have is what's gonna determine what I'm planting. Now, when I started realizing that I was kind of late to seeding, I decided to ask on my Buy Nothing group if anybody had plant babies that they were willing to pass over, because I feel like so many seeds come in a packet. By the time you have all your supplies, you're just kind of planting all of them. And one of my neighbors told me they had extra plants so that I could come get some, but then I thought, well, there's probably other people in the neighborhood who do too. So I put out a request. I got these 3, I think they're cherry tomatoes. You can never be too sure until they start growing, but these are definitely tomato plants. That's what I've gotten so far. We're gonna go through the seeds and then go from there. You know you're not supposed to be up here. Gonna get in trouble. It's not for you. Don't try to put your head in there.
I definitely wanted to do a long overdue garden update, like about my garden, but I also wanted to incorporate tips into this video, because watching me do what I'm doing is one thing, but taking away what I've learned from the years of doing it is another. I think you should start as many plants as possible from seeds. It's less wasteful, it's more affordable, and if you cold stratify them in your fridge and if you soak them, it will highly increase the likelihood that they will actually sprout. So do that.
I started filming this garden update video, a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago now. And my goal with filming this was really just to show you how I'm able to like kind of take a step back from the front yard project, because I've been solely focusing on it for the last couple years, and the vegetable garden has taken kind of a backseat. And then things just kept happening, and one really big update happened in my life, so I need to talk about it. It's quite vulnerable, because the thing I need to update you on is my chickens. And I kind of stopped talking about my chickens online like shortly after I got them, because I got so much like weird feedback when I got them, because we eat plant-based in my house. We have for a long time, we still do. And when I got my chickens, people were like, well, why are you getting chickens if you don't eat their eggs? And if you eat their eggs, that's unethical. And if you're not eating their eggs, then like, why not? And there's just so many opinions, and I just didn't want to hear it, because it started to feel like people were like, well, if you're not going to eat the chicken's eggs, what's the point of having them? And that's just like such an icky mentality to me that I stopped talking about them. But obviously, as I'm filming in the backyard for this video, you're gonna see them. It feels weird for you to see them and for me to like do this video and like be working in the backyard with like a really big change that happened in my life without talking about it. So when we got the girls, we got them from a sanctuary near our house, and we got 2, and one was named Douglas and one was named Val, and we love them so much. And they just are so entertaining, and they bring so much like life and vitality, which is my word of the year, to the garden. One of them was sweeter than the other, to be honest, and that was Val. And when I got her, the lady at the sanctuary literally told me, don't expect her to live too long. Like, she's pretty old. And we got them in April of 2021. So I've had them for 4 years. And so my assumption, because Val really never laid eggs regularly, my assumption when I got her was that she was 6. And since the lady had told me, don't expect her to live long, I figured she was probably 6, maybe 7. A few days ago, I noticed that Val wasn't really moving around the yard. She was just kind of sitting in the same spot kind of all day, which was not normal for her. And so I started getting worried, and I was supposed to leave for my parents' house that same day that I noticed this. Yeah, my parents were holding a celebration of life for my uncle, so I was supposed to be leaving, and I packed my car up and I got in my car and I left to go. And when I hit the highway, I was like, something tells me I shouldn't be leaving. Like, Val's not just sitting in spots around the yard for no reason. So I turned around, ended up not going to my parents, and I ended up bringing her in for the night because it was a little bit cold, but I just wanted her to feel comfortable and safe. And then by the time the morning came, she hadn't really moved at all. So I called and got her a vet appointment first thing in the morning. And I gave her a warm bath because I was trying to, like, process of elimination, figure out what's wrong with her. And without getting into too many details, before I could get her to the vet, she passed away. And I didn't, like, the way it went down was just a little bit sad, but I was really grateful for whatever it was in my intuition that told me not to go to my parents and to stay here so that she didn't pass away outside on her own and like just sit outside for like the 2 days I would have been gone in that case. And the reason I feel the need to update you on this is because I always knew when one of them left, I would have to get another one very quickly because they're flock animals. 2 is already pushing it, like you really should have 3, but they've always done just fine in our very urban neighborhood with just the 2 of them. And so I knew I had to get another one really quickly, which felt so weird because it was like from the time she died to the time she was in the ground was like 20 minutes. Like I realized she had died and Madison wasn't here because she was at another funeral in Dallas with her family. So I just like emergency called my neighbors and they came over and helped me bury her. So she has a little spot in the backyard. It was about like 24 hours between when Val passed and when I had to get the new chicken so that Douglas wouldn't be alone. And I was able to get that chicken also for free. Turns out people want to rehome their chickens after a few years when their laying slows down. So I got her for free on a Facebook page. She gave her to me in like a Huggies diaper box, which felt weird, but I think she's gonna have a good life here. And I haven't settled on a name for her, so if you have any suggestions, let me know. I have like one idea that's really stuck in my head, but yeah, it felt necessary to give you that update, and we will keep moving on with the stuff happening in the garden, but that's kind of a huge update that happened in my garden. So I felt the need to tell you. It is sad, but I also think, like I said, she lived a long, happy life. I was taking really good care of her in her last day. She got a nice warm bath, so she was really relaxed when it all happened. And yeah, we'll forever honor her here in our backyard because she's here with us. With all of that being said, I have been slacking with getting stuff in the garden. Like I had those tomato plants that I showed you a while ago, and they haven't gotten in the ground because I've just been really busy with trying to manage what it's like to reestablish a chicken flock. It's kind of intense.
Oh, hey! No! Don't be doing none of that. Hey, that's a lot. Okay, hold this.
That's been a little bit distracting. We're gonna finally get those tomatoes in the ground now. This is our new little lady. They get along enough to be in the coop together, not arguing, so we love. Honestly, I think they might get along a little bit better than Val and Douglas did because Val was such an old lady that Douglas could really just push her over, and this girl stands up for herself a little bit more. So I do think that this setup is what's best for everybody, even if it's a little bittersweet. I want to show you my favorite tool I have acquired recently. It's this very intense looking thing. It's also lunchtime here at the Shelby Madison household. Madison's doing lunch, but we are gonna go outside and finally get these tomatoes in the ground. Let me tell you why this is my new favorite garden tool. It looks intense, but it's actually not that crazy. It's just a drill attachment, attaches to the drill obviously, and it's to drill into the soil. This I got from a neighbor on my Buy Nothing group, and I think basically like people have just been passing it around and around and around, and we're not doing like it's a borrowing thing. It's like someone has it until the next person says they need it. I have sensory issues, mainly in my hands, sometimes in my mouth, but a really like lame thing about me and as someone who likes gardening, who likes planting things, who loves the earth, I hate the feeling of soil on my hands. And even when I have like gloves on, it still icks me out. And this doesn't completely eliminate my need to touch the ground. Obviously I still do have to touch it, but a lot less because I don't have to dig the hole and then move the soil. I just drill down into it. So I'm gonna show you how it works and get these tomatoes in the ground finally. I am slightly concerned that they are probably very root bound because of everything that happened. I haven't been able to get them in the ground, but oh, that's not bad. That's pretty good. But they do need to get in the ground, so let's do it. Yeah. Oh my God, incredible. You see that? That took me like 1/10 of the time it normally would. So I started using this mill a few months ago, and
I talked about it in a video. I wanted to give an update because I got some requests for it. So this essentially replaced our need for our curbside compost from our city. And if I'm being so honest with you, I really like this setup because it's not on my counter, but it functions like a regular trash can, which just works better for us. It's been way easier for guests to understand how to use, because before we told people our compost was in the freezer, and that was very confusing for people. Beyond convenience, I've also noticed it helps us with splitting up like the chore to-do list. We used to take out our compost bin multiple times a week, but with Mill, it's more like every other week. And the biggest bonus is I actually get to use the nutrients in my own yard. When I was using our curbside compost bin, someone else was getting all the goodness, and now those things go right back into my garden bed setup, and I can keep those nutrients in my own soil. And one of my favorite things about it is how effortless it is to use. It runs on a schedule, so it starts its like churning process around 1 a.m. so I don't even hear it running. I don't want a traditional compost pile in my yard, not only because of the effort, if I'm being so honest with you, but also because my chickens could end up eating food with mold on it, which scares me. Plus, an open compost pile attracts more predators that are dangerous for them, and I'm always paranoid about that anyway. So I can avoid that and use a system like Mill instead, where food waste is processed safely and efficiently. Of course, this is not the only option. There are plenty of other ways to handle food waste sustainably, but in our household, Mill has been a really good fit. And if you're looking for a low maintenance way to reduce food waste, this could be a great option for you too. I'm gonna leave a link to this in the description box if you want to check it out for yourself. Now, everybody has pests in their garden that they have to deal with. Luckily for me, mine are very cute, and as we've discussed already, I love them very much, but if they get in the beds, they will destroy everything. That's just what they do. They scratch, they love to eat things, and the way that birds process food is like they can just eat endlessly, right? So if I don't enclose these beds, the chickens are going to destroy any chance of harvesting anything that I have. I really thought these 3-foot tall beds would deter them. I knew it wasn't foolproof, but like at our old house, I had those little baby gates, and for the most part that kept them out. I thought the 3-foot beds would do that, and it just didn't. So luckily, Vego sent me these like cages that are designed for my beds, which is really nice, so that it's not like makeshift, and you know, if I tried to like make something myself, I do feel like it would fall apart. So I'm really excited about these. It encloses the bed entirely, so not only will it be able to keep the chickens out, but I think it will keep bugs like squash vine borers, tomato hornworms, birds, and the damn squirrels. And in the past, I've actually even had a possum would eat my tomatoes, and I think this is really going to be all encapsulating keeping all those things out. Oh, and cats, like stray cats that will come and poop in your bed. Oh my god, there's just so many things. It's been so long since I've done, you know, like food gardening, but as you can see, the tomatoes also grew a lot from earlier in the video when I planted them until now. The video clip of us actually putting this over the beds is very recent, whereas yeah, the other things happened a while ago. So I'm really excited about this. I will let you guys know how it goes. That volunteer sunflower back there in the back bed that you can see has gotten massive, and it wouldn't even fit under one of these. So we do have a second set, but we'll wait until the sunflower does its thing to put it over the next bed. And we will also plant in that bed, I think, more so in the fall, with a whole different like type of crop that we will do. And we will keep it going on the food forest vibes as well. I do feel getting this video up for you is taking me entirely too long, but that's just because it's a big learning curve for me to move from the front yard project to the backyard project. I am finally settled with what's going on back here, at least for the summer season. I won't be adding anything. I'm not going to make any more drastic changes. These cages on the beds have made such a huge difference in at least letting my herbs grow. My herbs are finally flourishing because the girls aren't getting in there every day and tearing them up. But one of the unfortunate things is that I don't think that really any fruiting plant is gonna make it in these beds back here. Our pecan trees, I think it only gets like 5-ish hours of full sun right here, and it's been enough for the tomatoes to flower, but not really to put on fruit. And for a while I thought maybe it was because the girls were eating our tomatoes and maybe birds and squirrels, and that could have been some of it. I do think that was some of it. But more so, I think this area is just not getting enough sun, and I don't think any of my backyard is really gonna get enough sun for fruiting annuals, which just means that my gardening journey, my food forest journey, my homesteading journey in the backyard is still ongoing because I don't have everything figured out. I do feel that if I continue to do my research and learn through the seasons to adapt to what my space has to offer, work with it instead of against it, work with nature instead of against it, I think we'll have something good. But it might just be an ongoing journey for a long time, which
I'm perfectly happy with and excited about. I will also say we have a blue jay nest in the backyard. Let me see if I can show you. I have always said that the backyard is meant for growing food and obviously the chickens, not so much for wildlife, but that right there is a blue jay nest. I think it's beautiful, and I'm really grateful that I'm able to call this place like my forever home and get to watch it evolve and change over time. And if you have any advice, please let me know, specifically about this back here, because I would like to be able to grow some like regular gardening foods that you would think of somewhere on my property. That's the south side, and I think maybe I'll put some beds in the south side on the front of the house because that gets enough sun. But we will not be doing that until next season because it is mid-June, and that means that yeah, planting season is over until October here in Austin, Texas. If you're interested in anything I talked about today, I'll have links in the description. And remember, until next time, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. Bye, guys.